Viewers, let's watch this video.
May 22, 2026. Every redeemed Christian church in Nigeria received the same directive. Fast for 3 days, then march. Carry your placards, fill your streets, make the government hear you. Over 4 million members, one voice, one Sunday. Then Sunday came, and the march was gone. No press release, no explanation, no statement from the General Overseer, just a message: it has been cancelled. And the reason that spread from inside the church: the president's wife is a member. Exactly what the RCGG announced, what was cancelled, and what a member of that church said happened inside. You are going to hear it precisely, with names and dates. 2. What happened in Oyo State the same week? A man named Michael Oyedokun, a mathematics teacher, what they did to him, and why the Southwest can no longer pretend this problem belongs somewhere else. 3. Maurice Moyen, former director of mobilization for the Obedient Movement, what he said this week about Peter Obi, and what it means for 2027. Stay to the final 90 seconds, because the last question in this video is the one Nigerian Christianity has been avoiding since this crisis began. To understand what happened, you need to understand what the RCGG actually is. This is not a medium-sized church. The Redeemed Christian Church of God has parishes in every local government area in Nigeria. It has branches in places where there is no tarmac road, no running water, no hospital, but there is a redeemed parish. Pastor Enoch Adeboye leads a congregation that reaches into the deepest corners of Nigerian life. When that institution speaks, tens of millions of Nigerians hear it. So, when the directive came on May 22, 2026, it was historic. The church announced a 3-day fast starting that Friday. The theme: the consuming fire. It was organized under the Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria, the umbrella body representing millions of Christians across the country. The directive was signed, circulated to every province, every zone, every parish. Members were instructed to mobilize massively. On Sunday, they would take their placards into the streets. The placards were already designed. No to insecurity. Stop the killings. Nigeria must be safe. Enough is enough. That was not a prayer meeting. That was a declaration. For the first time in living memory, the single most powerful Christian institution in Nigeria was preparing to march against this government's failure to protect its citizens. Then a new message came from headquarters. The march had been cancelled. According to a member of the church who posted a viral video on May 27, 2026, the reason that spread through the congregation was this: Remi Tinubu, the First Lady of Nigeria, is a member of the Redeemed Christian Church of God, and following her involvement, the march was stood down. Now, All Walks Life cannot independently verify the exact details of what was said between the church leadership and the First Lady. What we can verify is this: the march was announced, the march was cancelled, no explanation was given publicly by the church, and a member of that church went on camera with a specific allegation that is now circulating across Nigeria. Those are the facts. Draw your own conclusions from those facts. But there is something else you need to know, and it happened the week before. May 16, 2026, Orire Local Government Area, Oyo State. 8 motorcycles arrived at 3 schools at the same time. Community High School in Ohoro Esinele, Yawota Baptist Nursery and Primary School, LA Primary School. The attackers were coordinated. Security analysts who reviewed the operation described it as textbook. The same tactics that Boko Haram used in the north for over a decade: motorcycle mobility, simultaneous targets, forest escape routes, delayed security response had arrived in the southwest. When it was over, 46 people had been taken, 7 teachers, 39 students. The youngest child abducted was 2 years old. The traditional ruler of Esinele community told reporters that the police station was far from the community, that by the time security forces arrived, the kidnappers had already disappeared into the forests bordering the old Oyo National Park. One of the abducted teachers was Michael Oyedokun, a mathematics teacher, a committed Christian, a man who residents described as dedicated to his community. He did not come back. On Sunday, May 17, the same Sunday the RCGG march was supposed to happen, a video circulated online that appeared to show Michael Oyedokun being beheaded by his captors. His family has asked that the graphic content not be shared widely. They have young children who are currently sitting their exams their father will never mark. Governor Seyi Makinde of Oyo State confirmed the attack. The Christian Association of Nigeria confirmed the figures. The Senate condemned it. CAN condemned it. Pastor Adeboye has said nothing about Michael Oyedokun. Not one word. The church that had millions ready to march against insecurity could not find words for a mathematics teacher who was beheaded while carrying books instead of bullets. That silence is the most important data point in this entire story.
Some of you watching this are in the southwest. Some of you are in Lagos, Ibadan, Osun, Ogun. And some of you spent years hearing about these attacks in Bono, in Zamfara, in Kaduna, and somewhere in the back of your mind, even if you never said it out loud, you thought that is far, that is them, not here. Ori-Ire local government area is approximately 50 miles north of Ibadan. 50 miles. The same thing that took the Chibok girls in 2014 in Borno State. That same operation, that same methodology, those same motorcycles landed 50 miles from Ibadan last week. Security analysts said it clearly. This is no longer a regional crisis. This is a national emergency. Since 2014, more than 1,799 students have been taken in major school abductions across northern Nigeria. That number was built over 12 years of successive governments failing to contain what began as a remote insurgency. It took 12 years to reach Ori-Ire, Oyo State. Now it is here. Michael Oyedokun's colleague, the assistant headmaster of that school, reportedly also lost his life trying to shield students from the attackers. Teachers in Oyo State have taken to the streets. They blocked major roads in Ogbomoso. They are demanding structural protection for schools and rural communities. Not speeches, not condemnations, structural protection. Meanwhile, 3 suspects have been detained. The majority of the 46 abductees remain unaccounted for. The church that had the platform to create genuine national pressure on this government to act cancelled the march. And here is the part that nobody is saying directly. Think about this carefully. The Redeemed Christian Church of God, Winners Chapel, Mountain of Fire, Catholic Diocese, Omega Fire Ministries, Dominion City. Together, these institutions have direct access to more Nigerians than any political party in this country, more than the APC, more than the ADC, more than all the opposition combined. These churches have sub-branches in the thickest bush in Nigeria. They have members who will do whatever their general overseer or their pastor tells them to do, not out of blind obedience, but out of genuine faith and trust built over decades. If the Redeemed Christian Church of God alone had marched on May 24, 2026, it would have been the largest organized civilian action in Nigerian history since independence. The government would have had no choice but to respond, not with a press release, with action. That march was one phone call away from happening. And now, this week, something else happened. On May 21, 2026, a man named Maurice Munier published an open letter. Munier was the director of mobilization for the Obedient movement. In November 2025, he resigned and publicly attacked Peter Obi, citing poor coordination and what he called failure within the movement. Those statements spread widely. They were used by APC voices especially as evidence that even Peter Obi's own people had abandoned him. This week, Munier said he was wrong. He wrote, "I made statements that subtly and unnecessarily dragged Peter Obi. That was wrong. It was childish. I am sincerely sorry." He said his resignation letter was written in frustration and immaturity. He said his respect for Peter Obi has not changed. He took full responsibility. Now here is what that means in the bigger picture. Maurice Munier is not the only one. He's just the one with the pen. At the same time, a new Peter Obi support structure has been quietly building across 19 northern states. The same north where Peter Obi was told he had no base. The same north where tribal and religious propaganda was used most aggressively against him in 2023. Grassroots networks, community by community, state by state. The narrative that Peter Obi's moment had passed was built on public voices making noise. What is now emerging in private, across state lines, across old party lines, from people who attacked him and are now apologizing, tells a different story. The question for 2027 is not whether Peter Obi can win. The question is whether the institutions powerful enough to demand accountability, including the church, will stand up, or whether, like the march, they will be cancelled before they begin. Here is what this week has shown us. The RCGC had 4 million members ready to march. That march was cancelled, and the reason circulating inside the church connects directly to the First Lady. No official denial has been issued. A mathematics teacher named Michael Oyedokun was beheaded on video in Oyo State the same week. He had done nothing except go to work. The church that cancelled its march against insecurity has not mentioned his name. Maurice Munier, who publicly attacked Peter Obi after resigning from the Obedient movement, has publicly apologized. He said everything he said was driven by frustration. He said dragging Peter Obi was wrong. Meanwhile, 19 northern states are quietly building structures for a man they were told to fear in 2023. This is not chaos, this is a pattern. The same institutions and voices powerful enough to change Nigeria keep getting silenced, bought, or cancelled. And the ordinary Nigerian, the Michael Oyedokuns of this country, pays the price with his life. I want one direct answer from everyone watching this video. If your pastor announced a march against the killing of Nigerians and then cancelled it after the president's wife visited, would you still sit in that church the following Sunday? Yes or no, and why? Drop it in the comments right now. A march was announced. One name cancelled it. A teacher went to work. He never came home. A video spread on a Sunday. The pulpit said nothing. The North is building. The voices are returning. The bandits are traceable. Critics are easier. February 2027 cannot be cancelled. Make it count. That is the truth they didn't report.